Hey guys, so we're back again with another reading, and this one is all about what are people thinking when they stare at you. So when someone is just staring at you out in public, won't look away, keeps gawking at you, what is running through their head? Why are they staring at you? What are they thinking? What are they feeling towards you? We're going to get into all of it, and today we have a beautiful selection of tropical fruits for you guys to choose from. So if you want, you could imagine yourself making a beautiful tropical smoothie with all these lovely fruits, but if it is your first pick a card reading, you want to go towards the one your energy is feeling called to and drawn to. That's how you'll make up your mind and know which of the piles has the reading for you. So it should feel kind of like there's a neon light directed at a certain pile, and that's the one that you should go to, skip ahead to, and once you make up your mind, you can go ahead, scroll down to the comments where there is going to be the timestamp, so you can just skip ahead to your pile. I'm also going to show you guys what they look like up close if you like to make up your mind that way. I will say, you're not necessarily going to pick based on like, oh, I could really eat an orange right now, but more along the lines of the energy that's calling you in. Although if for some reason you have like a spiritual connection to like pineapples or kiwis are a symbol for you, then that could also be a message from your guides. Trust your intuition on this and really listen to the one that's energetically pulling you in, and that will be the pile with the message for you. So I'm going to show you guys what they look like up close, but of course I also want to mention that if you like how I read tarot, you can always head to my Patreon to get more of my content, over 40 additional readings that you will get access to all of them as soon as you sign up. I just posted a really juicy one all about what your person is fantasizing about you, and it got really deep, really emotional, and really juicy. That one's an 18+ one because, you know, we can talk about more on Patreon, but really I loved that one and we got into a lot of depth. But when you do sign up, you don't just get access to that, you get access to all 40 additional readings about life, love, spirituality, relocation, career, jobs, money, so many different topics. I mean, there's just so much to pick from. So definitely head there if you want to see more of my content, and the link for that is underneath the timestamps in the comments and in my description as well. So now let me show you guys what they look like up close. So this is going to be pile number 1. We got the lime over here, a lot of detailing on the skin. Then we have pile 2, and this one is our orange. So much detailing, like I feel like that looks so realistic. And then finally we have this pineapple, or not finally, but next we have this pineapple. So a lot of detailing here. They did a great job on the leaves as well. And finally we have this kiwi. So this kiwi, they got the skin, it's really realistic. Yeah. So also I want to mention to you guys that I also have my website where I do private readings. So if you would like a private one-on-one session with me, you can also head on over to briarrosetarot.com and sign up for a half-hour or a full-hour session with me. You can have me pull tarot, do mediumship, or just psychic channeling, or have astrology worked into it. So there's lots of things to choose from. And like I said, you can get half-hour or a full-hour pre-recorded or live. So if you'd like to get that, head on over to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up. I'd love to do a reading for you. So that's about all I have to say, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and let's jump into pile 1. Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this lime, this is going to be your reading. They did a lot of great detailing on the skin, and they even have that little bump and the stem thing, so it looks super realistic. But let's get into your card. So you guys got the 2 of Pentacles, 9 of Pentacles, 6 of Wands, the Hierophant, Page of Swords, and the Knight of Swords. So the first thing coming through right away is that pile 1, you guys are physically very stunning, very attractive, and just someone that I feel like people would notice. I also am getting the vibe that you guys are fashion forward. I'm hearing material girl. So I feel like a lot of you guys just present very well. And with that 9 of Pentacles, you definitely come off a little bit bougie, I think. And I just feel like you look like almost important. You know, you look like you're going somewhere. Maybe when you're walking down the street, you walk with an air of importance, or you walk kind of fast, like you have somewhere to go, like you're doing something important. And people might just assume that you're like a VIP, or that you're going somewhere special. Or even if you're walking to pick up like your dry cleaning, people are like, oh, they're probably going to a glamorous lunch. Look at them. They look so well dressed. Or there's just something about you that sticks out as someone who is very eye-catching, first of all, with the Six of Wands, and kind of an authority to you. Like, I feel like you have an air of authority, and we also got the Hierophant backing that up. So there's something about you that I feel like people see you as kind of professional, like well-dressed, like you know what you're doing, you know where you're going. You probably don't walk super slow, I would assume, and you probably don't have a vibe around you of like, oh, I'm just like looking around and just chilling and like I'm just, wow, that's really cute. I feel like you would like walk with purpose. You walk like you have somewhere to go, you know where you're going. Even if you're lost, you probably are somewhat street smart and you would know not to like linger around and just be like staring at a map out in the open or staring and slowly meandering down the street. I feel like you would like walk like, okay, I know exactly where I'm headed. Even if you were lost and completely like out of your mind, not knowing where to go, you would just pull it off and people would assume you knew what you were doing. You kind of have a vibe that's almost reminding me of like an executive or something like that, or like a business girl, you know what I mean? Or someone who is, and obviously it could totally be a businessman if you're watching this as well, but it just seems like you have a vibe of someone who is like professional, kind of high end, and I feel like people just think of you as like responsible and think of you as someone who probably has a booked social calendar, someone who has a lot on their plate, a lot to do. People might even want to speak to you, but they're afraid, because it's interesting. We got the Page of Swords reversed, and then we got the Knight of Swords coming out. So confirming the kind of vibe I was getting from that card, which is like, I feel like they would like to talk to you. There's a lot of people who are like, probably very attracted to you, first of all, but just are like, oh, that person's out of my league. Or if I try to talk to them, like they probably have a million people talking to them. Or even want to be your friend just on a friend level. Like, I feel like you just seem like someone who has your ish together. You know, you seem like someone who probably has a glamorous life, probably is going off to like an exciting party or meeting up with friends. And I feel like a lot of people are quite curious about you. They would like to know more. I'm seeing someone, like a girl sitting in just a cafe, and it's almost like one of the, you know, maybe the staff or another customer keeps looking over at them, and not in a bad way, but just thinking like, what are they doing? And that's so interesting. Like, they look, I feel like you make a good presentation, you know? So I feel like even if you were just at that cafe having a cup of coffee or just sitting around doing whatever, people would just kind of be curious about you and want to know more. And also, you do come off, I keep getting business vibes. So I don't know if some of you guys, like if you were in that cafe, you would bring your laptop with you, or you would be like pounding away on your cell phone and just like typing really fast and like sending out a bunch of texts, or reading something on your cell phone. And you might be reading like the stupidest thing ever, like a comedy website, or, you know, some like romance novel or whatever. But I feel like people would just assume like, oh, that person's probably really smart, and maybe they're a student, or they're at a job. You might have a lot of people asking you if you're in school too, because some of you guys might look a little bit younger, or actually I'm getting some of you guys might look older if you are really young, because there's an air of professionalism about you, but I just feel like people don't quite know how to place it. Like, they don't know, they're very curious. It's almost like you could be someone who's like a new executive at a job and like graduated not that long ago, or you could be a student, but you just seem like you're going places. You just seem like you're booked and busy and you have a lot of stuff to do. And yeah, I definitely feel like a lot of people are intimidated by you and curious, and they like you. It's not that you seem mean or rude. I feel like you guys keep to yourselves though. I don't feel like you guys are like, there's something intimidating about you, to be honest. Like, I feel like even though you guys might be friendly, people get the vibe of intimidation around you, and they just think that you probably wouldn't even want to talk or interact with them. And they might even be pleasantly surprised when you do talk to them that you're really nice. And because they might just assume that like, oh, someone who looks like that, they're probably going to be really demanding. They're probably going to be a bit of a witch, and they're going to just like boss me around, and they're going to be like asking when they order their coffee, they're going to be asking for like an iced mocha frappe double shot soy latte, and you can tell I don't drink coffee because I don't know like any of the terms, but I feel like even if you are particular and you do have a particular order, because you might like things done really well. So you might be like that particular person that has like a bunch of things to add to that order and you like it made a certain way, but you would be so nice about it and you'd be very respectful and very like pleasant. So I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by you, and you guys, pile one, I'm hearing you guys might get better service because of that. People might be a little intimidated when you walk into the room, because I just feel like I keep hearing material girl, and you seem like someone who I feel like people assume you're doing well financially. People assume you have some money, or maybe that even you came from like a higher end background or something like that. But I do feel like there's a vibe of like, oh, this person's a little bit fancy. So whether you're a man or a woman, you can be a material guy, but they just assume that you have a little bit of money and that you're a little bit bougier than the normal person and that you do have high standards. So that's where I think the intimidation factor comes in at times. Let's get some more cards. So I haven't seen any of these cards. It was really hard for me to shuffle without seeing any of them, but I made myself do it because like they do fly out. But this time I was like, I'm making sure I somehow do it without looking. So we got the High Lord of Gratitude and Service, the Phoenix, and the Dream Walker. Dreams, the collective good illusions. Phoenix, resurrection, surrender to change, and the High Lord of Gratitude and Service. So this is interesting because we got the High Lord of Gratitude and Service coming out over the Hierophant, and those kind of have somewhat of a similar vibe in some ways. The Hierophant is a spiritually serving card. I feel like you guys just come off as someone who people might turn to in times of need. Like you do have a kind vibe to you. I feel like you seem like someone who's an authority figure in many ways, but you also seem like someone who has a good heart. So someone that like if someone needed help, they could come ask you, or if they were in an emergency, they could turn to you and you would intervene. Like I feel like you have a deep air of authority about you guys. You're not like someone who's coming off to me as super like head in the clouds, dreamy, just like drifting through the world. You are coming off as someone who has a level of depth and gravitas to you. So if they were like lost, confused, nervous about something, I feel like you would be the one that they would be like, okay, that person has the dual factor of looking like they know what they're doing and also being nice. I know for me, when I'm traveling internationally, it's so funny how I'll pick who to ask for help or who to come up to and be like, do you speak English? And it's almost always like a youngish girl, because a lot of times younger people speak English and then really well. And then like the energy of them where they seem like put together, they seem like they kind of know, I don't know how to dress and stuff, because then they probably did really well in studies and were willing to like work really hard in English class. And then also that they seem nice and friendly and they're not going to just be like, get away from me. So it's funny how we pick that. And I feel like for you guys, you would be that girl that I would be like, okay, let me come up to that person, because they just give off a vibe that they're very competent, that they know what they're doing, that they know a lot of things. And so I feel like you might have some people come up to you if they're in distress, because you're almost like, I'm not going to say quite Elle Woods, but kind of like that. Like, you know how she's very put together and she's very smart and whatnot, but she's also super nice and would go out of her way to help people. I feel like there's an element of that to you guys, where people also feel like they can trust you on a deep level. Even though they're intimidated by you, they're also sensing that you are a good person at heart and that you are super loyal. And you would be that person who would put their foot down and stick their neck out to be like, hey, this is wrong. If something was going on that was like not okay, you would be that person who would speak up if like there was someone who was discriminating against someone with like a disability, or who was being really rude to someone else. You would be the one to step in and be like, wait, why don't you, that's not okay to talk to that person like that. Or if you saw another girl in like need, or if there was someone being creepy with her, you would probably be the one to step in and be like, hey, like you need to get away from her. And I feel like there is this strength within you because of that. There's this feeling people have of like respecting you, but not really wanting to mess with you, but knowing you're a good person. It's not because they're like, oh, they're probably a mean, nasty person, but I feel like it's because they have a lot of respect for you, and because they think, oh, this person's really competent and and really strong. There's a strength coming through towards you. Like you're very, I feel like you have things handled. You know, I just heard "It's Handled" by Olivia Pope, you know, when she says that's her catchphrase, because she always gets things done and people can come to her with the craziest whatever and she'll say "It's handled." And even though she's like this boss, she's also very nice. And I feel like that's like the vibe. So actually Olivia Pope is a really good comparison for you guys that I feel like you would definitely probably relate to or have a similar energy to. So we also got the Dream Walker. So I do feel like people sometimes project their fantasies on you. I feel like a lot of this is just due to your physical appearance. You guys, I think I'm hearing some of you guys have really beautiful hair, and especially the way it like falls into your face is very, very attractive. And I feel like there's something kind of, even though you're very put together, I don't feel like you guys dress in a way that's overly put together. Like you're not the like matchy, everything has to be super structured and rigid. I feel like you would dress in a way that's a little bit bohemian or a little bit dreamy, even though you have an energy to you that I'm getting is kind of earthy, down to earth, very functional, and not, like I said, super head in the clouds. I feel like the way you dress is more where your artistic side comes out. So you kind of, I don't know how to describe what I'm seeing in terms of how you dress, but kind of flowy, or there's an artistic vibe to it, or there's something a little bit different and a little bit unique. And I do want to mention again, because we kind of glossed over this, but the Six of Wands is coming out. So again, you get a lot of people's attention, whether you know it or not. A lot of people do stare at you when you're out in public. A lot of people notice you. And I do feel like you have a cool sense of style. I feel like it's something kind of young, youthful, flowy. There's a lot of energy to how you dress and even to how you carry yourself. Some of you guys might have like an Aries ascendant or something like that. I'm getting the vibe. It could be Aries Venus as well. That's also can be how we dress, but it's almost like there's an energy around you. You know, there's something about you that just seems like young and fresh and youthful. Aries Sun also as well, or first house placements. But there's something about you that I feel like just feels like reinvigorated, you know, where maybe it was like a little bit of a boring party, or maybe it was a boring function, and there's something about you coming around that just adds that extra spice, adds that extra energy to it, and the way you dress, present yourself, that just seems like someone who is exciting to know, has an exciting life, and is going places. Like I mentioned so many times, I feel like people really assume that you truly have like a booked and busy schedule. So we also got Horned Cactus, Resourcefulness, Root Girl, The Disowned Self, Empty Well, Time to Replenish, and Watchers. Wow. Just as I promise you, I did not see these cards. Okay, I promise you. And so just as I was done saying, a lot of people are noticing you, we get the Watchers card. So I'm telling you, you guys really, really, really have people noticing you. I feel like you attract quite a bit of attention. And a lot of people are also drawn to you romantically. A lot of people feel like you would make an excellent romantic partner, that you are very attractive, that you are someone that, I feel like there's also an energy of fun and unpredictability about you, where you're always just doing stuff. You seem like someone who wouldn't be having to play hard to get, because you are hard to get, and you probably have like a million friends to talk to, a million things to do, a million opportunities and social events, or that's just what people think about you. And so I feel like even when they're passing you on the street, they just get that vibe of like, who's that girl? Or I'm hearing it girl. And of course, if you're a guy, could totally just apply to guys. I'm just hearing those phrases that we tend to associate with women, but could totally apply to a guy who just seems like he has a very busy social calendar. He's on the up and up. Maybe he's got a great career, and he's the kind of guy who like goes to work, then goes to hit the gym, then goes out for drinks with friends, and just very like active, and a lot of things happening for you. And again, that vibe of you guys being a little bit tough underneath that. I feel like you don't come off like a pushover. You come off like someone who has street smart. So I don't know if some of you guys grew up in urban environments, or you just have lived in an urban environment, or you just have that energy to you of a little bit of toughness. Like I feel like you're not one to just fall for a scam, or to or to be like suckered in, or be really naive in a new city, like, and just be like, oh, what's this? Like, okay, I'll get in this van with this random man. You're the type of person, I feel like, to be very skeptical a little bit, but in a good way. Like, you're self-protective in the way that you should be, because we live in a crazy world, you know? So you are that person that might be a little skeptical at first, or might not be buying what someone's selling if they're coming around and they're acting a little bit like a scammer. Some of you guys can be very, I feel like, upfront and forthright with your opinions. You might speak very bluntly or say things how you think of them, but I feel like you're just, people have a lot of respect for you. People bring a lot of respect to the table when it comes to you. They know that maybe you have been through some stuff. We got the root girl disowned self coming out over the phoenix. So you guys might have experienced a lot of transformation or gone through many iterations in your life, and many different kind of planes of existence and experience, and might have been very different versions of yourself. But I feel like now the person that you are is someone who has really risen from those ashes, and who people can kind of get the vibe that you have come from something and you've been through some stuff, and there is a kind of toughness around you, kind of like, you know, maybe someone who works manual labor, and, you know, if you like touch their hand, even if it's been a while, they might have slightly thicker skin. And I guess that's where the phrase comes from, thick skin. I didn't even realize that I was saying that, but maybe you just seem, but there's like still a gracefulness to you, you know. But I feel like maybe deep down people can sense like, oh, okay, so they've been through some stuff. They're not just like that wide-eyed, like, oh my god, this is all amazing, and I met a strange man on the subway and he's taking me back to his apartment to, like, I don't know, whatever. Like, you'd be like, who are you? No, I'm not going to your apartment. Like, I feel like you're just very smart about that kind of thing, and people can tell that you're not just, you didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday, so to speak. And I feel like this actually makes you more attractive, because honestly, you're a little bit of a challenge. Like I said, people are gonna be intimidated by you. So maybe for some of you guys, you're like, oh, why don't, like, if you're a girl, why don't guys approach me? Or maybe if you're a guy, you feel the same way. Or why are girls kind of standoffish to me? And I feel like it's because you seem like a challenge. You seem like someone that they'd have to bring their A game to be with. Like, you seem like someone who's just not easily gettable. So that is going to make certain people run away, who maybe aren't up to the challenge, who maybe are easily intimidated. But I feel like you guys couldn't even be with those kinds of people anyway. So it's actually a good thing for you that those people are just staying the heck away from you, because you wouldn't even respect someone like that anyway. You're too much of a go-getter, you're too much of an achiever, and you're not easily intimidated. So you wouldn't want to be with someone who is that easily intimidated. So I actually feel like your kind of hard to get vibe, or the challenge you present to the right person, is going to make them go crazy and be like, oh my gosh, this is what I was looking for. I was wanting someone that's like this much of a prize and this much of a, like, you know, I don't want to say trophy because that sounds weird, but, you know, someone who brings this much to the table. Like, this is what I want. I want someone who's like A level, like amazing, 10 out of 10. And the wrong person who's just looking for something easy is probably going to be like running the other direction from you. But again, I feel like that's a good thing. But of course, there's more of the people that want an easy life in general with literally anything, whether it comes to money, relationships, whatever. Then there are people that are like, heck yeah, bring on the challenge. And you guys are definitely the bring on the challenge type. And I feel like you're going to want to be aligned to the people who are the same anyway. So I wouldn't let that bother you, but that might be something where if sometimes you're like, why haven't I been approached for a while? That I definitely think is part of it. So this is from the Bow Life deck. Love these. And we got In Touch with Your Body, Decluttering, Tell It Like It Is, and Trust Your Intuition. So yeah, more of this vibe of you guys being very put together. And oh, I didn't even see that. So tell it like it is, as I was saying. I feel like a lot of you guys are very blunt, plain spoken, say it how you feel. You're not going to beat around the bush. You're very honest. And I do feel like the right people really like that, but they have to have a little bit of being okay with you being like, maybe you are the type to call out like, what are you wearing? Oh my God, that's a crazy outfit or something. But I feel like you mean it so well. You're never trying to be mean, but you're going to say it if someone's wearing something crazy. You're going to speak up, you know? So there is a bluntness to you guys, but I also feel like you guys are just very put together in general. People might assume that you have like a beautiful apartment or you have a beautiful home, that everything is very neat and organized, and also that you guys have like a fitness routine or you're very put together in that sense. You might literally physically look strong, because I'm getting some of you guys have a very prominent sun. You also might have some Leo placements, so we got fire energy coming through really strong. And I could see Sagittarius as well, but I feel like you have a prominent sun, or you have some very strong physical strength within your body. Like you have a strong body. Like people just assume that you work out, even if you don't, even if you're like, I haven't worked out in like months or years, but there's some physical vitality and strength and health about you. And again, that might just have to do with you having a very prominent sun in your chart, or strong placements in the first house, like Mars, the sun, or even like something like the sun in the sixth house. But I feel like there's a physical vitality and strength about you that just people just see you as like healthy, like a healthy, strong. You might have strong bones, or you might have strong bone structure, like broad shoulders, or you might be tall, but there's something about you that just comes off like someone who is very like resilient, strong. And like I said, this is where I think people need to bring their A game to be with you, and you're going to intimidate people that don't feel like they have that much to bring to the table. And I feel like also you guys size people up really quick with that trust your intuition card. So there is a vibe of like you judging people, or sometimes people thinking like, oh, this person might judge me, or maybe like like I said, I need to bring my A game with them. So if you're at a bar or something, there might be a vibe of someone like seeing you cross the bar, but really you don't know that they've been rehearsing. Like you're like, why won't they come up to me? They keep staring at me, but they're not coming up. And they might be rehearsing pickup lines in their mind, or thinking like, what can I say to this person? Oh my God, that's lame. They're going to judge me if I say that. And so sometimes people might just even check it out when it comes to approaching you, because they are like, there's no way I can bring anything to the table for pile one, and I'm just so scared, because they look like they have so many options. They look like they have it all, and so why would they even want to talk to me? So let's end this reading on some astrology as well. Spirit, can you give us some astrology for pile one? So we got the 7th house, we got Virgo, and we got the moon. So we have Cancer, Virgo, and Libra represented here. So with the 7th house, Libra, that's the house of relationships. It's related to Venus. So, again, I think a lot of people actually would really like to date you. You do come off very physically attractive. I feel like a lot of people, you have really beautiful bone structure, and a lot of people are just very attracted to your bone structure. They see it as very like well put together, really good angles. You might have good symmetry or something like that. You might have very prominent cheekbones, or very attractive cheekbones, or a nice straight line to your nose, something like that. But I feel like a lot of people see you as strong, healthy, virile if you're a guy, like very very attractive possibility for a partner, you know, someone that would just make a good partner, make a good impression on others. That you might even be a bit of a perfectionist with that Virgo placement as well. And so Virgo rules the 6th house, which we already talked about, but that is, I feel like you do come off like a perfectionist and someone who does things right. Like you're not gonna, if someone asks you to do a work project, you're not gonna come back and be like, oh my God, sorry, I did half of it, but like I was really tired and then I just went to bed. You're gonna be like, yeah, I finished it. I pulled an all-nighter, or it's not done yet. I'm perfecting a few things, but it'll be done in a few hours. And when you turn it in, it's like amazing. Like you're just a perfectionist. And I feel like you don't do things halfway. And I was saying that earthy energy, because I'm also getting Capricorn vibes, and could be Taurus, but I'm especially getting Virgo, Capricorn. But definitely that Virgo perfectionism of liking things to be done right, and not really being impressed when someone's like doing it halfway, or turning something in that's like not quite right. You're just not the one to be okay with that. So we also have moon energy. So moon relates to Cancer and the fourth house of home, family. And so I do feel like you would be really loyal. There is a caring energy to you. Like you're kind of like that mom who can like go in and totally scream at the principal if she needs to, because she's that mama bear, and also be the most loving person ever. So I feel like people are intimidated by you, but like I was mentioning earlier with that spiritual side, they also know you're someone they can trust, someone they can turn to, that you would use your strength for good. You would use your bold, unafraid energy to like stand up for someone who needs it, or to call out like, hey, this is unfair. You guys just totally spoke to this person in that way, and like that's really not cool. You're someone who I feel like will stand up for what's right and will speak your mind and is very unafraid. And honestly, kudos for that, pile one, in a world where a lot of people I feel like are super afraid of a million things. I love this strength and this power coming through from you guys. So I feel like people are very interested in you, very, I want to say invigorated by you. There's something very enlivening about your energy, and something very like almost provocative, and I feel like it's like an energy hit. I actually feel more energized after doing this reading and tapping into your energy, because I said I don't drink coffee, but you guys are like a shot of espresso or something. So anyway, thanks for watching, pile one. I really hope it resonated. If you want to see more of my readings, head on over to my Patreon. When you do sign up, you get access to over 40 additional readings about life, love, spirituality, all different kinds of topics. I just posted one all about what your person is fantasizing about you. So that one's very juicy and very emotionally deep. And we got into a lot. I don't know whose person was up there on the astral plane, but I mean, some of these readings were crazy. So definitely check that out. Link is in my bio if you want to join my Patreon. And like I said, when you sign up, you get access to all my existing additional readings, over 40. So also, you guys, if this resonated, please give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and be sure to let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys, love hearing your experiences and how much it resonates. Like, are you this way, or do you think you got the wrong pile? Are you someone who's kind of strong and intimidating? Do you have a lot of people approaching you, or do you think sometimes people stare and they get intimidated but they don't actually come up? I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on things. So make sure to let me know in the comments so I can read all the juicy information. And like I said, hit the thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe, and then hit the bell, turn on notifications so you can find out as soon as I post, and you can join us over here at our little Briar Rose Tarot group. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, and if you want a private reading from me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and do a half hour or full hour channeled reading for your messages, whatever you want to know about. But we can channel, do mediumship, do tarot, do astrology, we got it all. So head over there if you want a reading with me. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be back very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I'll see you then. Bye. Hey pile 2, welcome to your reading. So if you guys got this orange, this is going to be your reading. They did a lot of realistic details on this, from the stem to these little like scratches where the pith kind of is coming through. So it just looks super accurate to me, as well as the texture. I really love that orange. But anyway, let's get into your card. So you guys got the Two of Swords, the Emperor, Queen of Wands, Ten of Swords, the Devil, and the High Priestess. So wow, there is a lot of power and strength coming through this reading right away. We got 3 major arcana cards, and there's just a lot of forcefulness coming through for you guys. So I feel like a lot of people would stare at you, possibly because they're intimidated by you, or they might even find you a little bit standoffish or a little scary. I'm picking up on some heavy like Scorpio, Capricorn, Aries energy. So it's almost like people might be staring at you because, like I said, they might be intimidated. They might think that they don't want to mess with you, or there's just something very intoxicating and almost dark about you guys, or mysterious, or kind of elusive in a way of being very, like I said, on the darker side of things. So you might sometimes give off a little bit of a witchy energy even, and people might be intimidated by you because of that. You might have the kind of energy that you kind of feel like you see through people. So maybe when they first meet you, they might be a little standoffish to you, or they might stare at you but not approach you because they're like, okay, I really don't need this person like reading into my backstory and somehow intuitively sensing all the sad breakup I went through recently, or that I'm really insecure about this. Like, it's almost like you have this power and this ability to see through people and to really see them through to their core. And I feel like a lot of people are just, yeah, they're intimidated by you. I'm getting the vibe that a lot of you guys, maybe you're not super bubbly when you first meet someone. You might be the one in your friend group that like people say afterwards, like you were the one I was the most nervous to meet. Or when I first met you, I thought you were such a witch. Or before I'd ever spoken to you, I thought you were such a witch. Or like I was, you know, I was excited to like meet all of so-and-so's friends, but when it came to you, like I just was so nervous around you. I feel like there's that kind of, like I said, gravitas to you. People actually, I think, take your opinion pretty seriously. So it's like they don't want to be on your bad side. They don't want to not impress you. And there is a vibe that you're not necessarily going to cooperate with someone just to like make them feel better in the moment. Like you're not going to lie. You're not going to change your opinion. You're not going to pretend everything is cool, or that you know, really like someone when you think they're lame. Like there's a very high level of authenticity that I feel like not everyone is ready for when it comes to you. So I feel like at first people might like sometimes keep their distance when it comes to you. And they are intimidated. They are very strongly intimidated. So I feel like when they're staring, it might be because of that. You guys, some of you might even look a little alternative. You might have like dyed crazy hair or piercings or tattoos, or you might just dress in an alternative way. So you might wear a lot of black, or you might, you know, dress in like emo clothes or alternative styles, or you might have heavy Aquarius in your chart. But there's something about you guys not wanting to follow the crowd and sticking out. I feel like just on a physical level, like there's something about you that is a little bit different, that is a little bit outside the norm. But some of you guys might just fit inside the norm, but like I said, there's an energy bleeding through of like, yeah, I'm wearing this outfit, but like if you try to come up to talk to me, I'm not just gonna be all warm and fuzzy and be like sunshine and rainbows and say whatever you want to hear. Like I'm gonna be honest and I'm gonna share my truth, even if I'm not dressing in a crazy way, but I still am going to be that authentic on a very deep level, even if I'm wearing like a polo shirt or whatever. So yeah, there is a very strong, heavy intimidation factor around you guys. People might also assume that you do seem like you have a lot of friends, or you might seem like you're very influential within your social circle. They might even think of you as kind of, I'm not gonna lie, kind of mean, or like a mean girl. But again, I think a lot of this is like first impressions that I'm getting at. Like someone staring at you and not knowing how to take you. And they might just think that, you know, you are that person that does look put together and does look like you have a lot of things figured out, and that, you know, maybe they had a trauma with someone who was also that vibe, and so they might, you know, react badly to you at first. But I don't feel like that's the actual truth. But maybe they think that like you have a lot of power and influence, kind of like Regina George did in Mean Girls, you know, that people were intimidated by her because she was tough and she was she had a lot of friends, she had a lot of influence. So I feel like a lot of people, they can tell that people respect you and listen to you, and so they don't want to get on your bad side. You know what I mean? They don't, and they do feel like you might have like a temper, or like once that, you know, they get on your bad side, that you're not just gonna like roll over and pretend everything's fine and schmooze with them anyway. Like I feel like you're someone that you have strong opinions, and if someone is going to go against that, you're not going to hold back. You know, you're not going to like smooth everything over and just have sunshine and rainbows for everyone. So yeah, there's a lot of intimidation when it comes to you guys. Some of you guys might have even struggled with depression with that 10 of Swords coming out, or they might perceive you as being a little bit, I'm not gonna lie, pessimistic. Or there might just be that heavy vibe that you're not like buying into what everyone is selling. You're not trying to dress in like pink and yellow and just sing along with everyone in sunshine and rainbows. You're kind of someone who is going to be like, I think that's lame, if you think it's lame. You're someone that's going to call things out and is very honest and kind of like a game changer in that way. So yeah, I think a lot of people when it comes to you are maybe going to keep their distance, or they might be intimidated and intrigued by you, but of course the right person will be like magnetized to this and think it's very sexy. It just might be that certain people at first, when they first get to know you, are like, oh my god, like this person's very intense. Pile 2 is very intense. And And again, very highly intimidated by you. So we also got first breath, beginner's mind, the crossing, initiation, wailing tree, reconciliations, and dream thief, refusal of the call. So I just got the vibe or the message that some of you guys might have people from your past that definitely think about getting back into your life. It could be romantic for some of you guys. It could also be friends, or it could be a mix of that. But I feel like there are people, it could even be family members, but I feel like there's a lot of people that you guys have cut off because you're like, I'm basically done with you. And when someone messes up, I just heard that line from Pride and Prejudice. It's kind of sad that I know this line, but where Mr. Darcy says, my good opinion once lost is lost forever. And I feel like that's you guys. Like, you're that person. And you know how, actually Mr. Darcy is a really good comparison. So maybe that's why Spirit brought it to my mind. But, he's kind of standoffish. And like, I feel like everyone at the party is very like intrigued by him. They want to talk to him. But then like, he'll say something really harsh and he's not even trying to, but he'll say something really harsh. And then everyone is like, oh my God, he's such a jerk. I'm just going to stay away from him. But he doesn't really mean it like that. He's actually like a good guy. But I think he also isn't the type to really care if someone like doesn't like him, or he's not the type to be like, oh my God, they were saying what about me? It's not true. No, I love everyone. Like, he's just gonna be like, oh, they don't like me? Okay. I literally don't care, couldn't care less. And I feel like that's kind of you. So yeah, there's people who are, I'm not gonna lie, there's people who are really mad at you guys, pile 2. They're coming through basically like, oh, pile 2 thinks they're better than us, or oh, pile 2 we tried to be nice to Pile 2. Pile 2 said it wasn't good enough. I feel like a lot of that is projection though. Like, maybe there was something that like, it was a janky party, or it was a messed up situation, or you're not the type to like sit back and pretend that everything's cool when it's not. And when there's something like weirdly shady happening. I'm getting scorpionic vibes because Pluto is like this. Pluto hates when there is some lying, some covering up, some like glossing it over going on. Like, Pluto hates when, there's like a pile of trash and someone tries to cover it up with a blanket. And Pluto is that person that will rip off that blanket and be like, there's trash here and we need to address it. And I feel like that's maybe something you guys have done, but people are coming through from the past to be like upset about that. And to basically, it's also like there's coming through with a lot of information. Something about you thinking you're better than them, which again, I think a lot of this is projection. I'm not co-signing, but I feel like there's something with you showing up to a party or something and you being like, this is lame, I'm leaving. And like, you wouldn't even know because you're like, why would I stay? But that offended people, or that people get mad about that. I also feel like you guys just don't care. There's something very freeing about you where you're like, yeah, you can be mad at me. I'm still not staying at your party. It was lame. And I actually feel like you have really strong Pluto in your chart because you seem very divisive to me, and not I don't mean that as a bad way, but Plutonian people tend to have this very heavy, intense. So Scorpio strong placements, like a Scorpio ascendant, or just having very strong Pluto in your chart. So like Pluto aspecting the ascendant, Pluto aspecting the sun or the moon, in a strong aspect. But yeah, when you have a really strong Pluto presence or Scorpio presence, you can have a very divisive side to you. So people can take you really the wrong way, because one of the jobs of Pluto is to like reveal the truth for everyone and to come through and kind of cut through the BS, like a knife cutting through butter. And I feel like that's something you guys have done. But the thing about Pluto is it always transforms something better. It gets rid of the bad stuff and it shines a light on what needs to go. And so I feel like you've actually done a divine service many times to different people, but they would probably never realize it, because when you say something harsh or something, they take that so personally. But there's actually something very divinely serving that you're doing in this, and you are very psychic. And I feel like people don't like that, and they do get triggered by it, because they were like, well, I thought the party was fine, until Pile 2 came along and pointed out that, like, yeah, maybe some of our hors d'oeuvres have mold on them, and maybe, we promised there would be alcohol, but all there is a couple cans of warm beer. But you know what? It was good enough for everyone else. Like, and it's like, you are pointing out that, like, this is a messed up party. This is bad, and I'm leaving. And so I feel like there is something about you that's very intense and sees through people. And honestly, I'm getting romantically people get intimidated by this for sure. You guys might even have a Scorpio Venus or a Scorpio Mars, but there's something about you that's very penetrative. So when you're into someone, it's like you see through them really intensely and you're very all or nothing. And I feel like sometimes people feel like they're almost stripped naked in front of you, you know, like not literally, but like metaphorically, figuratively speaking. And that's why Pluto also relates to that literally, is because it's all about seeing someone kind of naked, like literally and metaphorically, and seeing the truth of everything underneath that they're trying to hide. So yeah, I just think there's something very powerful about you guys, and a lot of people don't know how to take this, and a lot of people are scared and intimidated by you, and they're staring at you because they can sense this power, they can sense this energy. There's almost an occulty vibe. Maybe some of you guys are involved in the occult somehow, or do some kind of magic, do tarot, I don't know, but I feel like there's something 8th housey for sure in this pile. Scorpionic, Plutonic, and 8th house vibes definitely coming through. And also Capricorn, Saturn, that harshness of Capricorn, the harsh judgment of a Capricorn, because Capricorns do judge really harshly, and so do Virgos. But you know what? They're pretty much right. That's why Mercury is exalted in Virgo, is because they have that great attitude that sees the flaws in the way that's necessary. And Mars is exalted in Capricorn because that's how they get things done. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people probably find you harsh, pile too, but it's like afterwards, after you leave the party, they might say like, well, they're such a jerk to even say that, but then they're gonna rush out and buy new non-moldy hors d'oeuvres, you know what I mean? So wow, yeah, there's a lot of power coming through. You guys are like truth tellers. I feel like you speak truth to power and you don't hold back, and that makes you very different from other people. And you also see things outside the box, because I think the majority of people, you know, they're just following the crowd. They're just, if someone's like, oh, that band is cool, then they'll be like, oh yeah, I think it's cool too, it's awesome. But if someone was like, oh, this band sucks, same band, they would be like, yeah, it's really bad. And you actually see things through on your own. And I don't know why I keep hearing this phrase lately, because I definitely not trying to quote certain things, but I'm hearing something about seeing through the matrix. So I feel like there's something about you guys that is very like seeing past the BS, seeing past what people tell you, and really judging things on your own. And that makes you kind of a renegade. And now I'm hearing Renegade by Taylor Swift. That I feel like I said, people are intimidated by you, and you bring out strong reactions. Some of you guys might have had people be really rude to you that you barely know. Like you walk up to like the person in the convenience store and suddenly they're like, you're like, oh, do you have like fruit juice, by the way? And you're not asking it in a rude way. You're just like, do you have it? And they'll be like, actually, we don't have it. No, we don't. No. Oh, I'm sorry. Soda is not good enough for you? Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't a fancy gas station. We don't have fruit juice. Yeah, no, it's not good enough. And you're like, what is wrong with this person? But I feel like it's because you have, like I said, that penetrative, seeing things through vibe. And people are definitely intimidated by you. Pile 2, you guys have a vibe a little bit. I'm seeing an image of someone in like the Old West kicking through like saloon doors and like coming in with like a pair of like leather pants on and like, you know, like staring at everyone in town, and everyone's like, oh, that's the outlaw. Like there's like an outlaw renegade quality. Like you are coloring outside the lines. You're not just doing what everyone says. There's something very different about you guys, and something very like, I don't give an F what anyone says, and I'm gonna do me. And I love that. Okay, so we also got Dream Walker. That's interesting. We got 2 dream cards, and we got, I haven't read any of these, by the way, so I'm seeing them fresh. I made sure to shuffle them like upside down this time so I couldn't see them beforehand, which was really difficult to do, to be honest. But anyway, the Dream Walker dreams the collective good illusions, the Metal King, discipline, armor, boundaries, and we have the Desert Prince, survival, false promises, and the Lady of the Mirror, reflection, non-judgment. I feel like that's what you guys do. You shine a mirror on things, although you're not non-judgment, but you're judgment, but in a good way. Like sometimes someone needs a little judgment. They need someone to come in. Like I always think it's funny, you know, sometimes like I'm seeing in my mind Caesar Milan, and you know how like Caesar Milan will always come in, and it's always like the dog owner that's like, I love my dogs, they're amazing and they're the best dogs and I just take such good care of them, and the dogs are like going crazy, barking, like biting people, doing horrible stuff, and Caesar will come in and like discipline the dogs, and he's the one that like calls out the BS. So the dog starts barking or trying to bite someone, and he'll be like, no. And that's actually what, the dogs are like much happier by the end of it, because Caesar came in and he like gave them some discipline and order, and that's the role of Saturn in astrology. And I feel like that's something you guys do, is like, you're not gonna just pretend. Also, people who date you know this. There's something about, some of you guys have exes trying to come through, and the reason they're trying to come through is, what I'm hearing is, you guys cut them off because they messed up. And as much as they resent you for that, or resented you for that at the time, they also respect the heck out of you because you don't tolerate secondary behavior. You don't tolerate being treated like you're not a priority. You don't tolerate someone like running around on you or lying to you or bringing the BS. You just won't deal with it. You're just like, nope, you're done. Bye. And so I feel like a lot of people from your past, this is something I was getting into earlier, but I think I got distracted, just being ADHD. But some of the people from your past, friends, family, relationships, they definitely miss you, and you need to know that they have had time to reflect on it, and they know that you were the one who was right when you cut them off. So I know this isn't the point of the reading, but it really wants to come through really strong, that I feel like there are people in your past who definitely lurk your socials, definitely think of you a lot, and I'm hearing living rent free. So I feel like you definitely are in their mind a lot, and they stare at you in the sense of probably looking at your social media or looking at your Instagram page or checking your TikTok or whatever. But the thing is, there was something like, you cut people off when they do the wrong thing. You're not someone who's just going to cut someone off because it's like frivolous reasons, although maybe, but it's like, you make a valid point when you're cutting someone off. Like, you're not an irrational, crazy person. They might try to sometimes make you out as that. Like I said, that metaphor where you're showing up to the party and there's moldy hors d'oeuvres and there's like rotten beer, and they might be like, oh my gosh, you're so judgmental, or like, oh, you're so stuck up, or something like that, or like, oh my gosh, you're spoiled, or something like that. But I feel like with time to reflect, they can't deny that every point you made was 100% correct. You guys never lied. You weren't wrong. Everyone knows it. And the more time that passes, the more they have time to be like, yeah, I was freaking stupid. Yeah, I really made a fool of myself. Because I feel like you're not the type in the moment necessarily to argue. Like, you will argue, but you're also the type to just bounce, just, I'm done. Just, no, you don't get a second chance. Not to sit there and like go back and forth and be like, well, just try it different. Do you think you could get more beer? Well, maybe if the hors d'oeuvres, you could scrape the mold off, and like maybe you could go to the store. You're just going to be like, okay, I'm leaving this party, bye. And so it's like, you weren't wrong. You were totally right. And the more time that passes, the more they realize, like, I really, really messed that up. And pile 2 was completely right. So again, I actually think your judgmental energy is really beautiful, because you're kind of that discipline. I didn't even start going over this, but discipline, I didn't even read the description, is a good description for it. Because like I was saying with the dogs need discipline, humans need discipline, people need to sometimes be checked. And that's when you come in, because I feel like you will like check someone and kind of put them in their place when they need to be. You will be like, this is not acceptable. No. And so yeah, there's a strength and a power that radiates from you. And I feel like when someone's staring at you, it might just be intimidation. But I also feel like a lot of people wouldn't like outwardly stare at you. They'd like glance around the corner and try to like hide behind their sunglasses and like, try to play it off like they're not staring, because again, I think a lot of people are just straight up intimidated. Pile 2. Let's get into some of these cards. This is from Bow Life. So it is Vanessa Sumaina's deck, and it's really beautiful. If I can actually put down the card. Okay, so we got prioritize reflection, leap of faith, your tribe, your vibe, goal setting, and emotional baggage. So like, again, very intimidating energies, I feel. Like people can tell, and I'm just getting another download. Whoa, pile 2, you guys have a very strong energy around you guys. Let me just say, like, there's a lot of power going on here. I'm like trying to keep this reading on track, but there's a lot. So people are very intimidated by you, but I also want to talk about the emotional baggage, because I do feel like you give off of the vibe of someone who has been through a lot. Maybe you have had a rough life in some ways. Maybe you like had a tough childhood, or you have been through a lot of stuff, or you've had a lot of heartbreak. And for some of you guys, it might be that heartbreak, because I'm feeling something like that, like a romantic heartbreak, but it could also be the tough childhood. Take what resonates. But if it is a heartbreak, I do feel like that relationship left an energetic imprint on you. And maybe that's why you feel like you're not going to settle, because maybe you have known what it's like to be really loved and to have like a divine soulmate, twin flame, energetic connection. And so you're just like, I'm not settling for the guy that like I kind of like, or the girl that like, she's cool, I guess. I know what it's like to have that divine, amazing, soulmate experience, and I'm just not going to look past things. But I do feel like people can sense, oof, I just feel it so strong in my like chest. I definitely feel like some of you guys had major heartbreak. But there's a heaviness to your energy. There is a power. Like, I feel like when you walk into a room, pile two, a lot of people would turn their heads and just be like, whoa. Like, I'm seeing, you know what I just saw? Angelina Jolie in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And I feel like she has that quality. Like, there's something kind of Plutonian about her. I haven't checked her chart. Although I think she's Venus Gemini. But that's the only planet I know for her. But I think like there's something very different and unique about her. And it's like, even though she's so physically beautiful, there's also something about the way she carries herself, that she doesn't seem like just a dumb starlet. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that kind of lighthearted energy of like, oh my God, I love beauty, and like, doing the red carpet interviews when it's just like a young, excited starlet and they're like, oh, I'm so excited. I could just jump up and down and I'm so happy to be here. Yay. Like, but that's not Angelina Jolie's vibe. Angelina Jolie, when she, with those like really intense eyes, when she like goes up to the reporters, you can just feel this like intensity kind of settle, this like darker quality to her. And then she'll look intensely in their eyes, and then she doesn't really want to talk about like what she's wearing or the fun, like, what's the funny story from on set. She wants to talk about like refugees, and she wants to talk about like deep issues, but I feel like that's genuinely authentic from her. She kind of made it a trend, so now other people try to copy because they're trying to copy her energy. But from her, I feel like it's really from a really authentic place. And I don't think she did it to try to get good PR, because I don't think that was a PR strategy at the time, but people can sense the authenticity of that, and I feel like that's like with you, is like when you walk into the room, it's like this intensity and this seriousness. It's not just like, oh, this will be fun, this person seems like a blast. It's like, wow, this person seems really smart and really, they've been through something. Because I think Angelina hasn't had, not to like turn this into an Angelina Jolie reading, but I think sometimes, maybe she didn't have the easiest upbringing, is what she said, and she's been through pain and trauma. And that's what sometimes opens your heart up to allow you to have the compassion to like a refugee, or allow you to have the empathy to relate. Because, if your life is so easy, it might just be hard to conjure up those feelings of relatability, right? So I feel like there's something super intense about you guys, and like people respect the heck out of you, even if they resent you. And now I'm hearing that song by Taylor Swift where I can't remember the name, but where she says, when I'm screaming at the sky, and she's talking about like basically having her master stolen. I know all the Taylor Swift fans will know which song this is, but anyway, I can hear it so strong in my mind. So I feel like she's talking about her pain and trauma with that, and also that she's not holding it back anymore. And there's something like really intense and powerful about that moment when you're like, I'm not pretending anymore. And I feel like that's something you guys definitely carry through. Let's end this reading on some astrology. So we got Mars, the 9th house, and we got Aries. Wow, so much fire. And we did get the Queen of Wands at the beginning. So also, to talk about the Queen of Wands, like there is a sexuality to this as well, just like Angelina Jolie is considered. I mean, seriously, I would say, yeah, it's always Mars aspects that you look at to see when someone's exuding a raw sexuality. I personally will always look at Mars, see what it's aspecting, see if it aspects the ascendant especially, and then the sun. And then also Scorpio, or excuse me, Pluto. So Pluto aspecting the ascendant, or Pluto aspecting the sun, or of course Aries sun, Aries, or Scorpio sun, Scorpio ascendant, Aries ascendant, and to a certain extent Aries Venus, Scorpio Venus, can all explain this energy. But it's that fiery kind of Martian sexuality that comes through, and it's not a super happy-go-lucky energy. And there's a energy that's beautiful with Venus as well. But when it comes to that raw sexuality, you usually, in my experience, or at least how I do it, is would look up Mars ruled things. And I feel like that's something you guys exude. And why did I read this as Mars? Unless it just flipped and I hallucinated, because that's Venus. Did it flip? I'm so confused now. But anyway, I guess I'll read both. Maybe I was just channeling that. But I do feel like you guys exude this Martian, heavy, intense, almost fighter quality. So either way, it's perfect. And it matches up with that Queen of Wands. And it matches up with Aries, which is ruled by Mars. But there's something so fiery, and I feel like so powerful and palpable and kind of goal-oriented, goal-setting. As I said it, I just saw that card. Goal setting about you guys, where you get after things, you do them, and you are a perfectionist. And that's something I think people may not like about you, but they also respect. And it does give you this Venus beauty energy. It gives you that beautiful, I think, fascinating quality that people want to know more about you. People are intimidated, but they're also like, I've got to know more about this person. They're kind of an elusive mystery. There's a lot of depth to them, and they're not letting me know about them until I kind of win their approval. So yeah, I feel like pile 2, people are probably staring at you out of intimidation, and they can just sense this power exuding from you. So it's really powerful. I'm gonna have to like chill after this reading, because the power and the energy is coming through so strong. So anyways, guys, let me know how it resonated, if it resonated with you. If you do feel like you intimidate people, or you do feel like you just have that happy-go-lucky energy, let me know how it resonated. Let me know if you are someone that you are going to call things out, you are going to be a little bit different, and what kind of energy you think this comes from. I would love to hear. And also make sure to hit the thumbs up button, give it a like if it did resonate, and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell, turn those notifications on if you want to find out as soon as I post. And if you guys want to see more of my readings, head on over to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. And when you do sign up, you get access to over 40 additional readings. I just posted one all about what your person is fantasizing about when it comes to you. And that one is a really deep reading. I mean, woo, it was spicy, first of all. It's an 18+ reading, but it was very emotional, weirdly emotional. And I don't know who has been blocking their person on the other side, but someone is blocking their person hard. And so they were coming through like a freaking freight train, and it's very interesting. So if you guys want to see that, then head on over to my Patreon. And when you do sign up, you get access to all of them. So like I said, over 40. So definitely check that out. The link for that is in my description, as well as underneath the timestamps in the comments. And if you guys want to sign up to get a reading from me, a private reading, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and have me channel, do a mediumship reading, pull tarot, or do astrology. You get to kind of pick to a certain extent how it goes, or how much we mix in of all of it. So yeah, if you want to sign up for that, you can get a half hour or a full hour session at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is also in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I'll be back very soon for another reading. Take care, guys, and I will see you then. Bye. Hey Pile 3, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this pineapple, this is going to be your reading. They did a really great job on the colorization here, as well as the deep grooves of the pineapple. It looks super accurate, and they even did these little thorn type things on the leaves, so it looks good enough to eat. But anyways, guys, let's get into your cards. So you guys got the 10 of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, 9 of Cups, King of Wands, the Empress, and the 6 of Pentacles. So the first thing that's coming through is that you guys have a very kind, creative, and almost dreamy quality to you guys. I feel like you come off as a nice person, and there's something very physically attractive about you guys as well, and kind of dreamy. You might find people project their fantasies on you, like maybe once you start dating someone, they'll say something like, oh, like, I knew as soon as I met you that you were going to make such a good girlfriend or something, or I knew as soon as I met you that you would be really into like anime or something, and you're like, I'm not. And why would you even think that's a weird thing to think? Like, how could you know that from knowing me? But I feel like, or from seeing me once, but I feel like there's something about you that kind of sets people's imaginations running wild and makes people start conjuring up these scenarios or these fantasies about you, and just makes people almost feel like they can put whatever fantasy on you. Like, you seem in a way kind of like a blank slate, because you are very attractive, I feel like, physically. And then I also feel like you're quite nice. Like, you're not the type to be really harsh with someone or tell someone, you know, that you're not into the band they're into. Like, you might be that kind of person who's polite, where if they're talking about their favorite band, even if you think it's like the worst band ever, you're going to be like, yeah, they're awesome. Yeah, that's super cool. I like them. Just because you're very diplomatic, and I feel like you guys make a really good impression in that way. So I feel like a lot of people probably stare at you in public because they can tell this kind of dreamy, very attractive, there's something quite magnetic about you guys. We did get the Empress, so especially if you're a feminine energy, you definitely exude that femininity. And if you are a masculine energy, it could just be that you come off as kind of agreeable. So I'm getting like Libra energy for some of you guys. And I have noticed, just to include this for some of the men, if you are like, oh, this doesn't sound like a super masculine vibe, a lot of male sex symbols have Libra Mars. So there is something super attractive about the Libra quality, whether it's in a man or a woman. And I think it's because Libra is the diplomat. It is the energy of someone who is going to always know how to behave, always be probably getting along with everyone. They are exactly the kind of person who could like schmooze at a cocktail party and get everyone to like them. And I feel like that's the vibe with you guys, is you're kind of someone who can get along with a lot of different types of people, someone who is, I feel like, really pleasant to be around, and people just enjoy being in your presence. There's something nurturing about you guys. And we did get the 9 and 10 of Cups. Those talk about emotional fulfillment. So I actually feel like people really do feel like if they were in a relationship with you or they were close to you, that you're really emotionally giving and emotionally fulfilling. You would be like that girlfriend or that boyfriend who would be like, hey babe, what did you say you wanted for breakfast? And give them breakfast in bed. Or, you know, who would just intuitively know that they had a rough day at work and like get them their favorite brand of wine or make them some chicken soup or something. You know, you're just that nurturing quality. And I feel like this is why so many people fantasize about being with you, is because they just feel like you're like wifey or husband material. You know, you're someone who is going to give your all. You're also, I feel like, very nice to people. So I feel like in a way, some of you guys, you might just feel like you're being nice or polite, but someone might assume that, you know, you guys have a really deep connection because they really love the sweet, kind, giving side to you, and they just wish there was more of a connection, and they wish they could know you on their deeper level, on that deeper level. They wish they could be the one that you are making that chicken soup for, and it wasn't just like a quick interaction that ended. And also your guys' movements are quite graceful. So I feel like when you're walking down the street, people just see you and you're an eye-catching person because you have a lot of grace and beauty. Some of you guys might be kind of soft-spoken at times, or you might not be like the loudest person in the room who's trying to get all the attention. You might be someone who kind of sits back and lets people come to you, or who is polite, nice, warm, welcoming, but who has really good manners and who isn't going to be loud or speaking up or super boisterous. I feel like that also makes you have this kind of elusive quality. And honestly, I feel like people who might sometimes have a hard time even approaching others would feel comfortable talking to you. So maybe usually like they would get intimidated by someone else, or they would not know what to say, but you make everyone feel so comfortable. You make everyone feel like they can open up, like they can be themselves around you, and you're really quite giving to others. And because of that, I actually feel like a lot of you guys, you get things back in return. You might even have people that would love to like financially take care of you in exchange for a relationship, or you might attract partners who just really want to take care of you in different ways. And I feel like that's because you guys are so emotionally giving. You guys give so much of yourselves to others that they're really happy to return the favor. And also because people perceive you as having a lot of suitors. We got the King of Wands, so I feel like a lot of people just perceive that you would have a lot of people who are interested in you, a lot of people who want to date you, and that you are they're going to have to really kind of bring their A game to be with you and find other creative ways to get you interested in them, because you're just going to have your choice of suitors. I feel like you guys are that friend that if someone was bringing someone to the party and they didn't know anyone and this friend is maybe nervous or shy, you would be that person that they would sit them next to, because you have an amazing way of getting people to open up, to trust you, to kind of feel safe and comfortable around you. I feel like you have a very non-judgmental quality to you, so almost like someone could tell you anything and you would find a way to like accept it. You would find a way to be understanding about it. You wouldn't be judgmental or rude. You have, I feel like, impeccable manners and really fantastic social skills. And also I feel like a lot of you guys have a really beautiful way of dressing or putting yourself together, a very strong Venus energy that you put off, of someone who just would be like very comfortable in a lot of different social situations. I'm seeing someone like dressed up for something really high end, like a ball or a really high end function, but also like totally comfortable hanging out at the local bar in like jeans and a t-shirt. Just someone that I feel like, you know, really can do it all, because I feel like at the end of the day, no matter what kind of function you're at, you're always going to have your social skills to fall back on. You're always going to have someone who has this grace and this kind of magnanimous quality to you, who's very giving, generous of your energy, generous of your time. So I feel like a lot of people really like you. Even when they interact with you once, I feel like they get a really good impression of you. They think you're really nice. They think you're really sweet. And they might stare at you just because they are blown away by your physical beauty, also by the way you guys present yourselves, because like I said, I feel like you guys can be quite artistic, and how you dress or the kind of makeup you wear is probably extremely well done. Like you guys would probably just know how to put an outfit together or how to do your makeup so that you look really gorgeous. So yeah, I feel like a lot of people stare at you just because it's very good things going through their mind. So we also got, I haven't seen any of these, the Swan Queen, transformation, intuition, patience, sisters of the season, cycles of growth, natural law, divine order, the word Lord, communication, praise, dishonesty, and the rainbow prince, compensation, perseverance. So I feel like a lot of people kind of see you as a sister, or see you as someone who they just can trust and open up to. They feel like you're the person they could tell their secrets to. In fact, some of you guys might have had experiences with people telling you way too much information that you never asked for, never wanted to know. And next thing you know, someone's telling you all about the fact that like they're cheating on their husband, or that, you know, they are estranged from their parents. And you're like, okay, cool. I just met you like 3 minutes ago, but that's awesome. And I feel like you would be that person to tell that to, because you are very safe to talk to. You aren't going to be someone who judges them or holds it against them or goes behind their back and whispers to them. And honestly, this is such an advantage of life. I feel like this will get you guys ahead, because all kinds of people can vibe with you and like you. And you are that kind of person where like if you were in like a workplace situation and talking to the boss that everyone else is intimidated by, you would find a way to get them to like you. You would find a way to get them to be on your side when maybe they don't really like anyone. But just because of this gentle, easy quality, this generous energy you have, this very forgiving, sweet, kind, open quality you have, non-judgmental, understanding quality and vibe you give off, I feel like someone would randomly decide that like they want to give you a promotion, or they want to give you a bonus, or they would just take a liking to you, and you could make even the most people who don't get along with anyone like you and open up to you. So like I said, this is a very huge advantage. And I feel like when people see you out in public, they just see this kind of dreamy quality. Honestly, you guys might be that pile that I get sometimes where like people might have written songs about you or poems about you. They might just I feel like you make people's imaginations run wild when it comes to you. They kind of see you as like almost like a character in a novel, because there's something so unique and special, and just kind of like they can project whatever fantasy they have onto you. And I feel like you do seem a little bit like a protagonist in a novel. Like you have that kind of likable quality that you usually look for when it comes to like a movie character or something. You have that quality that like you're a good person, you're a good girl, or you're a good guy. You're not going to stab people on the back. You're not super evil or conniving. You honestly are someone that I feel like a lot of people root for and want to see succeed. Also, you guys might be highly creative yourselves. You guys might be someone who write, paint, create art in some way, bake. But I feel like you give off a creative energy. You give off a vibe of someone who sees things a little bit differently or has a very active mind. Like I feel like you're not the type to talk super loud or to say your opinion super strongly, but there's so much going on behind the surface and people can see that. So for some of you guys, I'm getting a little bit of a manic pixie dream girl vibe, but not everyone. But I also feel like there's just a vibe with some of you guys of not even necessarily manic pixie dream girl. What I'm talking specifically about that is like the way that character is always going to be like paying attention to the magic in life. Like she's the character that would encourage the boring guy in the story to like get out of his car in the middle of the night in a gas station in Alabama and dance around and like do a jig. And that's something, usually they have like a really boring character who would never do that, but this beautiful kind of feminine energy who will always encourage them to do something different, to step outside, to see things a little creatively, to see the joy and the magic in life. And I feel like that's you guys. Also, you guys might be really big into holidays or something like that. You might be big into like celebrating Halloween, Easter, and taking the joy in every moment, Christmas, whatnot. You might be someone who goes out of your way to like celebrate someone's birthday, or just goes out of their way to like make sure you go to the movies every week because you love the movies and it brings you joy and happiness. But I feel like a lot of people see you and it's almost like you're one of those random people who someone would smile just looking at you. Have you ever had that experience where you're walking down the street and there's just something about, a lot of times, like it's a young energy? So maybe some of you guys have a young energy to you as well. So maybe you are literally young, or you just have a young energy in your energy field. But I feel like there's something about you that always seems kind of wide-eyed, innocent, like open to things. You're not jaded. You're not someone who's just like, oh, whatever, I've done this a million times. You're someone who's very like, this is amazing, this is so cool, and you're excitable. And so I feel like just being around you is kind of like this magical feeling. It kind of rubs off on someone. And like I was saying, sometimes you'll see like a little kid walking down the street and just the joy of them like laughing at, a pigeon, or like dancing and or skipping down the street, and they're not even doing anything in particular, but that joy, that happiness that they radiate, that youthful kind of joie de vivre, I think I'm saying that right, rubs off on you, and you just think, oh my gosh, like the world is a beautiful place, and that's so cute, and it brings a smile to your face. And I feel like there's a cute quality to you guys. There's something very cute, endearing, and that a lot of people really love. So let's get more cards. So we got Benefactor, In the Hand, Overflow, and Joyful Muse, Inspiration, and Will-o'-the-Wisp, Treasures Hidden in the Shadows. So again, there's this energy where some of you guys, you don't always want to be the center of attention, but I feel like it just happens with you regardless. People pay attention to you, and it's almost like the more you don't want energy, the more you don't want attention, the more people are happy to give it to you. I also feel like you guys would make great mediators. You kind of have that Libra energy of being really good at sorting out disputes, being very diplomatic, but also, like I was saying, we got the Six of Pentacles and we just got the Benefactor card. So there's something where people like to give to you, like to take care of you. You might have found yourself getting a lot of like random free stuff, like not even for any reason in particular, but just like a friend of yours being like, by the way, like I'll cover pile three's meal, or like, hey, do you want to come on this trip? And like, it's totally all expenses paid. Because I feel like you being around people, you bring joy to them, you bring happiness, and also you make a great impression. I feel like a lot of people are happy and proud to be seen with you. So even if they were like, oh, like I have this free vacation, I should give it to someone. So I can bring someone, okay, I should bring someone on this cruise with me. Well, pile three always looks really good. They take a really good care of themselves. I also feel like some of you guys smell really good. You just look good. When you're walking past, I feel like you are well put together. There's something very whimsical about you guys as well. Like, I don't know if you dress in an unconventional way, or you might be into like a certain style that's a little out there or a little different, like cottagecore, or I don't know, light academia. I would say you guys have light academia, not dark academia. But there's something about you that's kind of a little bit different, that's a little bit creative, unconventional, and I feel like you inspire other people to be unconventional in the same way. And you just come off like you're the opposite of a hater. You come off like you are someone who would always be gassing your friends up, always be encouraging others. And I think that's why so many people, again, would love to have you as their romantic partner long term. And you're definitely that like long-term romantic partner, not a one-night stand or not a hit it and quit it type, but someone that they would want to be with day in, day out, because of how giving, how loving, and how much you take care of everyone around you, and just make them feel like their cup overflows. We got overflow, and that's reminding me of the 10 and 9 of cups. So that is such a card, 2 cards that talk about the feeling of feeling emotionally really fulfilled. So there's just a really good positive vibe around you guys, where you make everyone around you feel really understood, really loved, really taken care of. Sometimes some of you guys might run into trouble because you might sacrifice your own needs, desires, and wants because you're always looking out for others. But I do feel like you also get back a lot of what you give, and you inspire everyone, like I said, to see the beauty in the world that they wouldn't always notice, that they would maybe walk past usually, and you would be the person who's like, by the way, did you see the roses were in bloom? And they're like, I didn't even know we had roses. Oh yeah, those are beautiful. So there's something about you that just notices those tiny details and is very open to the world, seeing the beauty in the world, and also, like I said, highly creative. And I'm getting the vibe that some of you guys, you might even have come from like a small town, or you might just have that vibe to you where you just don't seem like a jaded person. You don't seem like someone who has been through the ringer several times and is closed off and is judgmental. You seem like someone who's quite trusting, quite loving. And I feel like especially you guys just must be fighting off romantic partners with like a stick, because I feel like you have so many people that just love this about you. Think that you're just the cutest thing ever, and just such a good friend as well. So there's so many people that I feel like when they see you in public, they're like, "Aw." They're like, that person is just adorable. Or pile 3, they just seem like the nicest person. I don't know them very well, but they seem like the sweetest, coolest. They just seem like awesome. And so actually, I think you have a really good vibe and a really good reputation even before you open your mouth. Let's get some more cards. So this is from the Bow Life. This is a Bow Life deck by Vanessa Sumaina. I love it. The day you plant the seed, hope on the horizon, jar of dreams, trust your intuition, and connect with nature. So I love this connect with nature card, and I definitely feel like you could have that Taurus vibe as well, which is also ruled by Venus, of someone who is a little bit earthy, loves the finer things in life, but also loves to be out in nature, loves to, maybe even is really good with animals. You might be that kind of person that like dogs flock to you, cats, like you might have friends that are like, oh my gosh, when you come to my apartment, just don't be offended, but my dog will run away and my cat's gonna just probably hide away in the bedroom because they don't like anyone, and don't be mad. And like as soon as you come in, the dog and the cat flock over to you and are just so drawn to you. And I feel like that's because you have a very high vibrational energy with a very open heart chakra. and you seem kind of also like down. Like I feel like you don't seem high maintenance. You don't seem super judgmental in the way that like you would be like, what is this date? It's not a 5-star dinner. I'm leaving. But you seem like someone who would be like, oh, we're gonna go have a picnic in the field and grab some burgers from Dairy Queen or something. Okay, I'm down for the adventure. And I feel like in that way, like I said, because you are so happy and grateful for everything, it's like people just want to give you more and more, and they just want to take care of you because they love to see that joy and that delight in your eyes, and they love to make you happy because of that, because you're never demanding. You're very giving to others. You have a positivity around you, a happiness, a high vibe, a very bright light shining out of you guys. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I could see you guys being with like a very powerful partner, because I feel like you provide that amazing support, or having very powerful friends, because it's almost like you're people's peace. You know, when someone is stressed out or they're having a really rough day, I feel like you're exactly the kind of person they would want to go talk to, and they would want to like get, you know, kind of dump their problems on, because you are going to be so giving and loving, and you're such a safe space for them to open up to in a way that like no one else is. And you're not someone, they know you're not using them, because again, I feel like you're actually very happy with like, you're not a super fancy person or someone that needs or demands like a certain thing. You're someone who would always see the best in it, always be like, thank you for this amazing gift, even if it's not really what you wanted. You're just so kind and diplomatic and loving that I think a lot of people just find you quite charming. You make a beautiful impression on most people. Let's get some astrology dice for pile 3. Okay, so we got Mercury, we got the second house, and we got Taurus. So very strong Taurus energy coming through, which I had just mentioned. So the second house is related to Taurus, both ruled by Venus, of course. And then we also have Mercury, and Mercury rules over Gemini as well as Virgo, and so the 3rd and the 6th houses. And so there is this energy again of your guys's creativity, you guys being very imaginative. That's definitely a mercurial thing. Mercury is also super curious about the world, and I feel like you guys come off very curious. You come off like someone who's always down to explore, down for an adventure, down to try something new, and someone who you know, like I said, you're not jaded. So like if someone's like, oh, by the way, did you hear about this movie? And maybe they're excited to tell you, but you know, someone else might be like, oh yeah, I know all about the movie. Actually, I saw it and like, I don't think it was that good and blah, blah, blah. But you would be that person who's like, no, I never heard of it. Well, tell me all about it. Like you're really good with that. And also, like I heard, sometimes you guys might have seen the movie, but you just are intuitive and you have good social skills, and you know the person is dying to tell you about it and can't wait to like be the one to explain it to you. So you might be like, no, I haven't seen it. Well, what did you want to tell me? Because you just know they're going to be so excited to like go on and on and on about it. Again, I feel like you guys just have fantastic social skills. You're great in different social situations, and you have that beautiful grace about you, grace about your movements, grace about the way you look in clothes is what I'm hearing. That's another thing. And there's something kind of shy and quiet about you guys. Like I feel like you're just not overbearing. Your energy is so gentle, so loving, and just easy to be around. Then we have second house, which is Taurus. So the funny thing is, even though you are very down to earth, I feel like people do love to spoil you because of that. Like I said, even though you aren't the person who would demand someone take you out in a certain type of car to a certain type of restaurant, it makes people want to do that because you're not demanding it, because you're happy with everything, because you're like so joyful and so open and so receptive to everything, that it's like it's a joy for them to make you happy and to bring you all these things. And with Taurus, Taurus has such a beautiful eye for all things beautiful. So you guys probably do have impeccable taste in clothing. You probably have a fantastic makeup routine if you do your makeup. And I feel like you just come off very put together and very beautiful, and also like someone who is just fun. Like you guys are fun, you're easy to hang out with, and I feel like people just really can't get enough of you guys, pile 2. So I think that is what I have for you guys, pile 2. I really hope it resonated. If it did, please let me know in the comments. If you are this kind of easy vibe, you get along with most people, you consider yourself diplomatic or you're kind of shy, let me know in the comments because I would be very curious to hear. I'm always interested in hearing from you guys what you think and how it resonated and how it applied to you. So definitely let me know if you fit this vibe, and make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, and make sure to subscribe as well and hit the bell, turn on the notifications so you can find out as soon as I post. And if you guys liked how I read tarot, then head on over to my Patreon to get access to all my additional readings. When you sign up, you get access to over 40 additional readings. And the one I just filmed is all about what your person is fantasizing about you. And it was very juicy. We got a lot of interesting information. It is an 18+ reading because it was on the juicier side. But we also got really deep emotionally. So there was a lot of really interesting stuff coming through. Someone's person is missing them a lot. And I think because I hadn't done a love reading in a while, it was just pouring through. So definitely check that out. That's one of my favorite love readings I think I've ever done. And it's over on my Patreon, but when you do sign up, you get access to all my readings. So you get access to over 40 additional readings about life, love, spirituality, money, career, I mean, every topic under the sun. So definitely check that out, guys. Link for that is in my description and underneath the timestamps in the comments as well. And if you guys would like a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. You can have me do a mediumship reading, channeling, tarot, astrology, we do it all. We can mix some of it in as well, and you can get a half-hour or a full-hour session with me. So if you would like to sign up for that, head on over to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link for that is in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, you guys, and I will see you very soon in another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey pile 4, so if you guys picked this kiwi, this is going to be your reading. You can see they have the little skin fur thing covering it, and then it has the kiwi fruit underneath and the stem. It looks super realistic, but anyway, let's get right into your card. So you guys got the 7 of Wands, the Chariot, 4 of Cups, 6 of Swords reversed, 8 of Wands, and the Temperance card. So what's coming through right away is that you guys, I feel like you seem busy and kind of elusive. Some of you guys seem head in the clouds, like when you're walking through whatever, a city, the hallway, whatever it is. I feel like you just seem like you have a lot on your mind, and you kind of seem like a deep thinker. Like you seem like someone that might be like writing a book in their head or imagining something in their head or puzzling over some bit of information you just read about, like some article, but you're not just thinking about it on a surface level. You're like a deep thinker. So I feel like you seem a little bit mysterious. Like people want to know what's going through your mind, and they do see you as intelligent and smart, and like you might even have the potential to build something really big with what's going through your head. I also feel like you guys, this is just like the staring energy, but also once they get to talk to you, I feel like you would have a bunch of like interesting takes on things. Like you are like a deep thinker. And I feel like when someone actually asks like, oh, what are you thinking about or something? If you told them honestly, they'd be like, whoa, that's really interesting. Or if they were like, you know, they went to the movies with you and even they didn't know you that well, and afterwards they were like, so what'd you think? You wouldn't just be like, oh, I thought it was entertaining. Yeah, it was really funny. I laughed. You'd be like, I thought it was a really interesting commentary on this, and it tied into this, and I had just read this book like 2 weeks ago, and it was talking about this, and so then I was thinking of ancient Egypt, and they'd be like, oh my God, okay. So I feel like you come off smart, intelligent. You might even dress in that way. Like you might dress in a way that's like academia or something, dark or light academia, or there's something intellectual about how you dress. Like maybe you love a sweater vest or a sweater, or you wear glasses or something, but it's almost like I feel like you dress in a stereotypical like intelligent smart person way, or there's an intellectualism and kind of erudite quality to you that I feel like a lot of people pick up on about you and think of you as like a bit of a smarty, and also see you as someone who has a lot of potential to either earn a lot of money or that you already do earn money or come from money, but there's like, I feel like a lot of potential from success. Like you might seem highly educated, or you might seem like someone who has a really good vocabulary, or someone who's really good at math or something like that. But I feel like you just come off really, really smart, and like you can be kind of absent-minded at times. So I almost feel like you come off a little bit like a character from a book, because like I'm hearing Walter Mitty, which I've never seen that movie, but I think it's like this guy who writes a book, and it's like his secret fantasy dream world. So I think that's kind of how you seem. Like you seem like you have a fantasy dream world going on inside your head, not in a bad way, but get what am I even saying? I don't even know what word I'm trying to say, but I guess kind of like I, in an intellectual, like you have a vivid imagination, you have a vivid mind, you have a very active mind. And I feel like people, wow, for some reason I'm suddenly having trouble talking. I don't know, maybe that applies to this reading. Maybe sometimes you guys have a hard time like actually verbalizing your thoughts, but people can tell you're really smart underneath that. Or maybe you come off sometimes as shy, you're bumbling over your words, but like when someone actually, they can tell like you're super smart underneath that. I don't know, that just might apply for some people. But yeah, I feel like people are very intrigued by you. They're very curious about you, and you do come off like someone who probably has a lot of potential, like I was saying, for success. So you might also come off as someone who's busy and very absent-minded. Like I feel like your mind is on whatever else. Like someone can talk to you and you might seem like you're talking to them, but you're also thinking of like a million other things. And I don't think people get offended by this. I feel like they're like, what's going on inside that head of pile 4? Because I know they're smart and I know they're thinking of things. And I feel like people are intrigued by this and want to know more about you, want to know more about what's going through your head, want to know more about what you're thinking. And it's kind of like a mystery or a little bit of a riddle to them. I don't know, some of you guys might be creative. You might write things, or you might paint, or like have a very creative side to you, or even make YouTube videos. But I almost feel like there's a strength for you within your ability to look at a certain situation that maybe everyone else already knows about, but the way you think about things is very unconventional, very different. And yeah, I feel like some of you guys, you might even, people might overlook you at first or not notice you at first, but then it's like the more they get to know you, the more interesting you are. And I'm seeing this image or the guy from this movie that I don't even know why I watched it, but I felt called to watch it. And then this guy kept coming through and reading. So some of you guys fit into this archetype of, I don't even know the name of the movie, but he's like this intellectual guy who sits in the back of the class and no one really knows him. And he's kind of shy, and like they'll invite him to parties, but he's like, he's not interested in showing up. And so anyway, he goes on later, like 20 years later at their class reunion, he's like a best-selling author. He's like a famous best-selling author. And, but like when he was in class, he wasn't one of the cool kids, and he wasn't even like a nerd. He was just like other. He was just like this kind of did what he wanted, kind of Aquarian energy a little bit, like a rebellious energy. And the name of it is something about Peggy Sue. So if you guys have seen that movie, I don't even know what it's, I don't even know the name. It's from the 80s, but it was a good movie. But I feel like there's something very like kind of other and different and like kind of standing on the outside, but not because you're like not cool enough to hang, just because you're like, yeah, I'm good here. Like I'm kind of got other stuff going on. I have other things to do, and I'm kind of in my own head about this, and I don't really care to hang out with you guys and talk about like the weather. I've got a novel to write or something like that. So I feel like people get an intellectual vibe from you when they first see you and when they first meet you. It's really irritating me that I can't think of the name of that movie, but anyway, but oh my god, it's Peggy Sue Got Married. So if anyone has seen that movie besides me, because it's from like the 80s, then oh wait, why am I doing this? Okay, I guess I'll do the astrology next. Maybe your absent-minded vibe is rubbing off on me, not that I wasn't that already. Oh my god, not a surprise, that rolled out of the way, but it did say Mercury. Then we also have 6th house, which is ruled by Virgo, which is also Mercury. And then we have Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So that Mercury energy is projecting really strong out of you guys. Some of you guys might have Mercury aspecting the ascendant, or Mercury in the 1st house, Mercury conjunct the sun, or just a really prominent Mercury like Mercury in Virgo or Mercury in Gemini. You could also be a Gemini, of course. So a Gemini ascendant, Virgo ascendant, Virgo sun, Gemini sun, or Mercury. Yeah, I already said that. So the ascendant, sun, and Mercury are what we're paying attention to. And also Mercury in Aquarius is, some astrologers argue it's exalted there because of the complicated rules with the exaltation being in domicile and stuff like that. So anyway, so you might have some of those placements, but I feel like there's something very unusual about you guys, and just a deep thinker. Like, I feel like people pick up on you as someone who knows a lot, and they would probably go to you for advice. I feel like when people are staring at you in public, they're probably just intrigued, and there is something kind of unconventional about you guys. I also would not be surprised if some of you guys are quite clumsy, because I'm seeing someone kind of like tripping and falling and like dropping a bunch of books or something, kind of like that stereotypical nerd in the movies that has their glasses like broken and taped together in the center, or, you know, is always like dropping their books. But again, I feel like people find this charming. They're like, oh, pile 4, they're super smart. And I don't feel like it's like necessarily in a nerdy way, although it could be in a nerdy way. But I also feel like some of you guys, like, even though you have this intellectual quality, it's not in a way of like just being kind of a geek, but it's a way in like you're really a deep thinker, and I think people respect that. And I was just about to say something, and it was on the tip of my tongue. I swear, your absent-mindedness is rubbing up on me. Pile 4, not that I was not already absent-minded, but it's like ramping up so much in this reading. Yeah, it's kind of like nutty professor vibes with you guys. Like, I feel like you guys are that vibe of someone who could like probably memorize like an encyclopedia, but if someone was like, where'd you put your car keys? You'd like forget it. Like, you wouldn't know. You'd be like, I think it's, oh my God, I lost my keys. And like, you might be very forgetful, or you might have that vibe of someone that's like always losing things, or just kind of can be a little bit of a mess at times. And so sometimes people might even underestimate you and think you're not that smart, or think you don't really, you know, you don't really know what you're doing at first. And like I said, you might be clumsy. You might be physically kind of someone who like trips a lot, or isn't good at sports, or just like, just drops things a lot, has to have like a double, you know, super hard like shell around your iPhone or your phone. But I feel like a lot of people find this very charming about you, and they know that it's because you're smart. And also I feel like people know that when it comes down to it, and like they're in the clutch with you, you will always come through, and you actually, I feel like, have a lot of potential for success that you radiate. People keep mentioning that you guys are upscale or high end, or you make a lot of money, or you're projected to make a lot of money, or you're highly educated, something along those lines. I also feel like you guys are perfectionists, so when you do something, you would want to make it perfect. Like if you were making a cake, you know, I don't know, because some of you guys might be so clumsy that you would like absent-mindedly use salt instead of sugar. But I do feel like there's a vibe to you where you are perfectionist as well, and that is Virgo energy, for sure, of someone who is like going to make sure that all the cake measurements are measured out perfectly, and that they follow the recipe as much as they can. Not all Virgos are perfectionists in this exact way, but that's kind of the vibe, that like when you really commit to something, you do it well, and your intellectualism really helps you once you're able to really focus. But you guys might be kind of ADHD, ADD, and might have trouble sometimes focusing, but that's definitely typical of someone who's intelligent. But yeah, I feel like sometimes people might not fully get you, but they're intrigued by this, and they kind of take notice of how smart you are and how dreamy. And I feel like people who are romantically interested in you, there's something really cute about how people are towards you when they get a crush on you. I feel like you can be quite oblivious to it, and you're kind of that like, you would make like a great protagonist in a novel of someone who would just be like clueless and not really realize that like someone had a crush on them until they were like, what? Like, you wait, this guy likes me? Huh? I just thought we were hanging out as friends. Like, I feel like you can be so oblivious, but it's cute, and it kind of makes people like you more, because they can kind of like stare at you and you're not going to notice, and they can kind of project their fantasies on you in that way a little bit. And it's funny, because talking to you, I feel like it's like pulling out a thread from a ball of yarn, if that makes sense, or peeling an onion or something, where there's so many layers to you. You know, there's like, you just tug on one thread and suddenly there's so much more to go. You know, it's like maybe someone's just like, how was your day? And you're not the type to be like, Oh, it was good. How was yours? You're going to be like, oh, well, I actually forgot this and then I missed the elevator. But the interesting thing is that I was checking out once the elevator arrived, I noticed that it had modules left from the 1940s. And so then I looked it up, and the building is an Art Deco building that was built in 1939. And the person's like, oh, okay, this is not what I meant to ask, but this is really interesting. Like, I feel like there's a lot of interesting things you have to say. And the kind of quirkiness there, I feel like is very attractive. People are like, wow, I gotta know more about Pile 4. They're always interesting to talk to, always interesting to hang around. And you also seem very good natured. Like, I feel like you seem like the kind of person who would donate to charity or give someone the shirt off your back or be very sweet to like stray cats or something. And even that might be like a hidden side to you. Like, you wouldn't necessarily be the person who's like wearing a shirt around that says like, I love cats, and posting all over on your social media about like how much of a cat lover you are. But you'd be that person that would even like be like, oh, whatever, I don't really care about cats. But secretly you're giving like kibble to the strays in your neighborhood. And there's something really like sweet and caretaking, and the way you notice small details. Like, I feel like there's something very detail oriented about you guys, and you notice tiny little things that other people would just gloss over. So let's get some more cards. So we got the Diamond Dreamer, wealth, material wealth, true prosperity. I'm telling you, you guys, you're rubbing off your, like, whatever this is, nutty professor vibe. I can't even read. The Winged Wise Ones, angelic help, miraculous aid, the River Queen, flow, letting go, natural movement, and finally the Spirit Whisperer, divine guidance, higher knowing. So there's something that for me, what's conjuring up in my mind right now is kind of like mist and fairy tales. So like The Little Mermaid or Cinderella, my fave, Aurora from Sleeping Beauty, aka Raya Rose. But that's not, well, it's not really why I named it that, but it's kind of, I love the vibe. I love her. But and especially Belle, because I feel like you guys definitely have a Belle quality, like how she's always got her nose in the book, and then she's walking around that town reading, and everyone's like, that girl is quite peculiar, but it's kind of beautiful. And of all the people that were trying to get Gaston's attention, of all the girls that were like putting on their best makeup and their best dresses and stuff, he's very intrigued by Belle because there's something elusive. She's never really paying attention to him. She's kind of just like nose in the book, head going a million miles an hour. So she's like not even noticing like, oh, he has big muscles and he's, I don't know, got a strong jawline, whatever else Gaston had going on. She's not noticing that. She's just focusing on like her book and the library and her dad. And so I feel like in that way, again, people are very attracted to you because you seem to like, you just do your own thing. You seem like you just like to do whatever. And I'm also seeing Pocahontas specifically. And so all from Disney. So, I feel like with Pocahontas, like a lot of the princesses have this vibe. Ariel too, she's always collecting those random like items. Like, that's kind of weird and quirky, you know what I mean? So there's something quirky about you guys. Also, I think though with Pocahontas, did I just almost say Pocahontas? Wow. I feel like she is always exploring. Like, I love the song Just Around the River Bend, and she's always like excited to learn. And when other people are closed off to like meeting John Smith or the settlers, she's like open to it, and she's like curious and talkative, and she's always like doing things on her own, and she's not just following the crowd and like doing what everyone tells her to do. And that's what brings her into the great adventure. So I feel like there's something about you that would take an unconventional stance or be more open to things or more curious than the average person. And I think that makes you very attractive. I think that openness is something that a lot of people are like, that's really cool, because also you're very non-judgmental. And I feel like people could tell you something that they wouldn't feel comfortable telling anyone else, and you would listen and you would be like, that's awesome and that's cool. And you're not just going to be like, oh my God, you want to wear what to the event? It's black tie. That's crazy. You can't make your own dress. You'd be like, that's really cool. What kind of material are you going to use? Or if you see an unconventional movie or band or something, you wouldn't just be closed off because like, oh, this is weird. You'd be like, that's weird. I love it, Or or just someone who, like, yeah, is a little outside the norm, and I feel like it makes other people really feel understood and comfortable. And even, like, I feel like you would attract people who are maybe very inside the norm in a way, because they love the freedom they feel around you. They love the way you look at things differently. And this, like, deep accumulated knowledge you have, I feel like also makes you very attractive. Like, I feel like for some reason I'm seeing this metaphor of someone who, maybe someone has, like, never had, I don't know, like a certain wine, or they're just like, oh, it's all red wine. And then someone's like, no, actually, that's a Bordeaux and a Merlot and a Pinot. And they start explaining to them, and they just have a lot of knowledge. Or someone goes into a wine and cheese shop and they're like, oh, I'll just take cheddar. And then this person is like, well, have you tried this kind of cheese? And have you tried Gouda? And have you tried, you know, I forget how you say it, but I love this cheese. Comte, Comte. It's seriously so good. But you might just know a lot about things like that, and like people love the way you expose them to different things, and you're kind of open and inventive and curious, and I feel like that's something that people really love. But again, there's this perception of kind of wealth, sophistication when it comes to you guys. That I think that knowledge makes you someone that people just assume you're sophisticated, or you must have grown up with some sophistication around you because that's how you know so much. I don't know, but that's something that has come through a lot with you guys. So people are just projecting that you're highly educated and that you either might come from money or you're at a job where you're earning a lot of money. Let's get some of these cards. So we got skywriting, the fates, crown games, right use of power, a tidy house, clarity and organization, an empty well, time to replenish. So I think it's really interesting. We've had a lot of emphasis on writing because I just keep seeing someone who is writing a book or could be a painter. I feel like you have that gift for communication and for looking at things in a very different, unconventional way. And you might have like a novel in you or something, or you might just come off like you're a writer. Like you might just have that vibe to you of someone who has a whole world in their head, has a vivid imagination. Maybe some of you guys got in trouble for that growing up, even where you would like, be off daydreaming in class and your teachers would shout at you. But I feel like as an adult, it just gives you a dreamy, imaginative, curious quality. And people love that side of you. They think it's really cool that you're not just very like linear minded, I guess. You're very expansive minded. So like you wouldn't just look at something with like, a very brass tacks, like A equals B, and that's it kind of mathematical mind, but you would look at things as like very nebulous and with metaphors and with like a lot of inventiveness, and you would probably be very open to like different ideas, and you might score high in openness on personality tests. Yeah, I feel like there's something really, really cool and unconventional. Now I'm seeing images of Halloween. So maybe some of you guys thrive around Halloween or you have a connection to that time of year. And so that is Scorpio season, and it's also Virgo season and Libra season around there. Because I feel like you do have an autumn vibe. Like I'm seeing, I don't know, like universities in like the Northeast in fall, or like Gilmore Girls, the aesthetic of that show where it's just kind of like New England prep school, boarding school. Like, I don't know, maybe that's kind of your vibe. Like I always associate Gilmore Girls with the fall. So maybe that's, I don't know, like, that's just a vibe. Like, I feel like people just have vibes of seasons, and you guys might have like an autumn vibe of, smartness, because that's kind of, I don't know, the vibe to me of that time of year, and like interior thought. So we also got crown games. So again, this vibe, people see you as very destined for success. And I feel like when you're walking down the street, they just see you as someone who they would like to know a lot more about. They're curious. They can tell you got something on your mind. Maybe you're that kind of person that when you walk down the street, you have so much thinking going through your mind, and you might like randomly smile or laugh. And, they're walking past you and they're just like, I wonder what they're smiling. They're just got that small smile to themselves, or they just look super lost in thought, or you're walking along listening to music and they're like, I wonder, they just seem so immersed in something. They just don't really seem present. They seem kind of like they're off on another plane, deep in their mind, and there's so much intellectualism coming through this person. Yeah. Okay, so let's get some of these cards. This is from Vanessa Sumayina's deck from Bow Life. So we got multiple streams, confessions, claim your energy, and crystal clear. So multiple streams, again, this vibe of a little bit fancy that you guys are giving off, or educated, or earning a lot. So we already talked about that. We don't need to talk about it anymore. But I feel like so many people, it's funny. I feel like pile 4, you guys probably have a lot of people from your past that would love, that kind of like watch your stories or check on your social media. And I feel like there's something really unconventional about you guys, something that's always taking people by surprise. It seems like you're just the type of person to follow your passion, follow your hobbies, and not really care or give a darn what anyone else thinks, and just do what works for you. And like, if someone doesn't like it, you don't really care. I don't feel like you're super concerned about the thoughts or feelings of others in the sense of trying to fit in. Like, you're like, if someone was like, well, I think that's weird, I think that's different, you're like, yeah, it is. That's why I love it, And I feel like that some people take this the wrong way, or might even be triggered by it, especially if they've spent their whole lives trying to fit in and they hold that with a lot of value. They might be like personally offended by the fact that you're like, oh yeah, I totally don't do that. And the fact that you seem to be thriving regardless, we can see with all these positive like success cards that we've gotten, I feel like you come off like someone who is thriving. So I feel like people sometimes resent you because of that, because they're almost like, how did this person, they never had to make all the sacrifices I had to make myself fit in and do what everyone says, and yet they seem super happy. And some people might even accuse you of being privileged, I'm hearing, because of that, or they might accuse you of like, oh, so your family did everything for you, something like that. But I feel like it's because there's resentment, because you seem like someone who has made this magical life for yourself, or someone who is going to make a magical life for yourself, and never had to kind of sell out to do it. And the people that did have to kind of sell out, so to speak, metaphorically, they resent that what they had to give up, and they wish they could have this magical sparkly vibe that you do, where I feel like you guys just make things happen for yourselves. Like, you're not someone who is like, okay, well then I'm going to give up all my interests and just focus super hard and take on a career that I hate. I am someone who is going to pursue my interests and pursue what I love. And you kind of magically have made that happen for yourself. And I actually think a lot of you guys could find a way to get paid for your unconventionality, or for the different way you look at the world. Like I was saying, like a novelist that always seemed a little weird in their school because they were always writing in their notebook, but later on they get paid a lot of money because of that. Like that guy I was seeing from the movie Peggy Sue Got Married, where it's like you're sticking out at the time and everyone's like, oh, he's always in the back of the class and he looks so weird just like sitting alone writing in his notebook, and then he makes so much bank because of that. There's something about that about you. But I also think a lot of people think you're really cool. I don't think they think like, oh, what a geek. I think they think that person's kind of a rebel, and it's kind of like really awesome, and it's kind of, like, yeah, rebellious and cool and different, and in a way that I think people you inspire them to also step outside the norm a little bit, because you just seem so unconcerned with others that I think that it may inspire someone else to be like, wait, why do I care so much? Like, why am I so obsessed with? It's reminding me of that character from The White Lotus that everyone was roasting her fashion choices, and like, she's like, I don't know the name of her character, but she was like the young girl who was the assistant, and she was always dressing in kind of like early 2000s throwback clothes, and everyone was like, she looks atrocious. But I also feel like it's like, well, at least she's doing her own thing, at least she's like dressing hopefully for herself, and if it makes her feel good and that's the vibe, then that's so much cooler than someone who's like trying to fit in. And so I feel like you inspire someone that might be like, that I can never wear that, and then they see you pull it off, or they see you just doing what you want, and then they're like, you know what, I don't have to fit in, I don't really care so much. So it's actually, I think a lot of people, like I said, there's a lot of people from your past as well that just, there's kind of a magical elven quality to you guys. I don't know if you feel energetically connected to the druids, or you might have some Celtic ancestry, but I'm seeing the druids in my mind, or you might have had past life as a druid. The druids were in like northwestern Europe, especially in England, and they did Stonehenge and stuff like that. But I'm seeing a connection to that, especially because they did a lot of like earth magic. And I feel like that elven quality that kind of that area has a lot of is something that I'm definitely seeing connected to you guys. Like there's kind of something very dreamy, creative, non-violent, and very like magical, you know, like you just make magic happen. So yeah, I think that is what I have for you guys. Pile 4, I really hope it did resonate with you. Please let me know if it did in the comments. I would love to know if you do have an elven quality to you, or you're just smart and unconventional and do things your own way, or you kind of are absent-minded and maybe that's why I keep forgetting words in this reading. Let me know in the comments, guys. I'm always curious to hear, and make sure to give this reading a like, hit the thumbs up if it did resonate, and make sure to subscribe and then hit the bell, turn on notifications so you can find out as soon as I post. And if it did resonate with you and you want to see more of my readings, then head on over to my Patreon and sign up to get all my readings over there. When you do sign up, you get access to over 40 additional readings. And I just posted one all about what your person is fantasizing about you. And pile 4, you guys definitely have people from your past that were fantasizing a lot about you. I feel like you've really captured people's imaginations. So it might be for you, because the energy came through really strong in that reading, especially from someone's ex that they blocked on the astral plane. And there was just a lot of spiciness as well. It's an 18+ reading, so we are talking about fantasies and a lot of emotions as well. So that one was probably one of, if not my favorite love reading ever. It was so intense. So if you'd like to see that, then head on over there, and when you sign up, like I said, you get access to all of them. So there's love readings, spirituality, career readings, money readings, relocation readings. I mean, so many different topics. I couldn't possibly go over all of them. But if you want to sign up, head to the link in my description or underneath the timestamps in the comments to get access to my Patreon. And if you guys would like a private one-on-one reading with me, you can also get that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and sign up for a half hour or a full hour session with me and have me channel, do a mediumship reading, do tarot, or do astrology for you, or mix all of it together. You get to really decide and sign up for a half hour or a full hour session with me. So I would love to do a reading for you. If you want one, go to my website, briarrosetarot.com. So thank you guys so much for watching. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you guys very soon in another reading. Take care, guys, and I will see you then. Bye.